welcome to Season 2 of Trap Talk.
Brought to you by Krieghoff.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Listener Extravaganza, Part 4. And we wanted to thank everybody for submitting your questions. If you want to submit your question and get these guys to answer it, it's askus@traptalkpodcast.com. Send it in, and we'll get the experts to give you their expertise, inside information on everything you want to know about trap shooting. But with that said, guys, are you ready?
We're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, you're ready.
It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. Let's kick this off. All right.
In Nebraska.
Windy day in Nebraska out there? All right, a little windy here in Vegas. Let's kick it off. We've got Kurt from Casa Grande, Arizona, so neighbor of mine out here. On one of your upcoming Q&A videos, you're in luck, Kurt. This is one of those upcoming Q&A videos. Could you please dive into the purpose of, say, of 100% POI, or for that matter, the purpose of setting up different POIs? I understand what POI is, but I'm not sure if I say 100% POI, shooter sets the gun up this way because they have the tendency of stopping the gun when they pull the trigger, thus a rising target, and the shot string leaves the gun above the target and has a built-in lead? Or does a good high POI shooter still keep the gun moving? This again from Kurt from Casa Grande. We're talking POI. Why do we have them? Trap shooting, point of impact. Guys?
I know exactly how Ricky's going to answer that question, so let's hear it, Rick.
No, you go ahead. How am I going to answer that?
No, go ahead.
No. I'm going to throw you a curveball. The POI, honestly, is up to each individual shooter. I don't say you got to have 100%. You got to have 90%, 80%, 70%. But a trap target rises, so you do want to have a little bit higher than 50-50, 60-40 on up will work just fine. I set a POI by going out, setting the gun up on a straightaway target from the 27. If I was smoking the target, okay, there's my POI. Every gun is different with how that gun moves also, how it's balanced, if it's heavier in the back, if the bears are heavier, all these things that come involved. So for Kurt, it's up to you to figure out your POI. Don't let shooters tell you you have to have 100%, because that's hogwash. In my opinion, I feel that each shooter, you go out, shoot targets, you're breaking them good. Oh, hey, it's set on 70-30. Great. But do it at handicap and then learn to shoot it at singles. That's my best advice.
Yeah, I think you could have 3 different guns, all at the same point of impact, and hit targets differently with each one of those guns. So it has to do with the mechanics of the move. It has to do with your eyes. It has to do with weight. It has to do with balance. It has to do with gun fit, all what Ricky said. So, I mean, you can't just say every gun I own shoots 150% high. I don't think that's a good indicator. I don't think it's like setting a rifle where you dial them in. Everyone's dialed in at 300 yards. Like, It just doesn't seem realistic to me because of the way we all move guns differently. So, everyone's going to be a little different. And I think there are some people out there that have to have a 150% high gun or a 200% high gun. I'm sure they're out there. And I think there's guys out there shooting 60-40 and blowing them up. So it's just how you move a gun.
Yep. Everybody's different.
Okay, guys, so I can hear the listeners' questions starting already. What are your POIs set at? Because I know we've mentioned it before on the show, but let's just remind people. Ricky, what's your POI?
75 to 80% is my point of impact on all 3 barrels of my trap gun. And then my other guns are set around the 70-ish that I shoot sport in. So that's why I can transition from one gun to the next. And
And Zach, what about you, bud?
80-20, all 3 barrels in trap, and then 70-30 in my sporting clays gun. I mean, just a little bit flatter. I mean, not much. I mean, and it might even
only 3 inches basically. So you're not, it's let's
not
be
a lot.
Don't get wrapped up in POI. Like I said, go to the club, set that gun, set the trap on straightaways. Get it set up where you got a figure 8 or however you like to look down it. personally, I like people to look down and see a some type of a figure eight, and then go from there. Now you could say, well, no, I like seeing the space. That's fine, okay. And you could say, well, the gun does shoot higher for me. Yes, it would shoot higher for you, because if I mounted it and see a figure eight and I shoot and go, oh, it's 60-40.
Correct.
Well, if you shoot into the barrel, it's going to shoot a little higher. So set it up on targets. Don't do it on a patterning board. That is, in my opinion, it's overrated. The patterning board, what's it good for? Left or right.
Right.
Yeah,
sure.
I think you could definitely pattern it after the fact to figure out where it's at, and that left to right makes a lot of sense. But to say, well, I've got to set it here to have success, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, because
Right.
I've shot, the highest gun I ever shot was my Ludic, and that shot about 110% high.
Yeah.
And so for me, that gun, I mean, I pointed right at the same way I point now, but maybe I wasn't swinging the gun back as hard when I was, 15 or 16 years old, right? I mean, so maybe the gun moved slower, maybe the lock time was slower. Like there's things there that you're not always thinking about.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's probably some of the best advice for the listeners is don't pay too much attention to the POI. Take it out to the trap. Lock that trap on straightaway. Stand at, Rick, your handicap yardage first? Is that where you would start?
I set everything up at the 27, and then once I get it dialed in where I'm literally center punching targets, then I walk up to the 16 and go, ooh, maybe I'm a little high.
How am I going to shoot these? Yeah.
Slow down my move a little bit, because
Right.
I'm not a guy that's gonna put a washer in to shoot handicap, take one out to shoot singles. I got to add 2 in to shoot doubles. No, leave it the same. If you're shooting a combo gun, all the same.
Figure it out.
So set it for handicap and then go shoot singles. I mean, figure out how to shoot your singles with that setting. Keep everything the same. I think that's really great advice. One follow-up question that hasn't really come up yet. We hear about guys sending off their barrels, right? Oh, I sent my barrel to this barrel guy. And we know there's a couple of really good ones out there, and they tune the barrels. And he asked me, well, where do you want it to shoot? And I said, I want it to shoot 80-20. So he set my barrels to 80-20. This part I've never understood. That how can you set my barrel to a point of impact without my face? This part I don't get.
Well,
Stacked.
You have to send it in, and one of the best guys out there that I dealt with in the past, Tommy Wilkinson. I mean, he can make barrels do magical things. And when I shot a different gun, brand years ago, he did my barrels. And I could tell you, I did. I said, I want this to shoot 80-20, stacked beads, figure eight, blah, 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 blah. Okay, comb everything like it is. So that's how he gets it down. It's all in a vise, though. Versus, and that's what I try to tell people too when they're patterning. I'm like, you want to get a true pattern? Put your gun in a vise, figure eight on the spot, and then shoot it and see what it does.
Okay.
Yeah, and like you're saying, John, how does he get it to that spot? Well, if you say I want 80-20, and I think it's more dealing with fixed strip guns, right? Because you have a fixed strip gun. I mean, you could do it, you could do it with an unsingle or anything, but if you say, hey, the setting I've got it on, I want it on 80-20. He's going to line up those beads and put it that way. Now, if you put space in the beads, guess what? It's not 80-20 anymore. It's 90-10 or it's 100%.
Okay.
So, but all things being the same, if it's viced, stacked beads are stacked beads, whether it's for me, Ricky, or John. I mean, it should all be, zeroed in on that.
I can tell you from past experience, especially with Tommy Wilkinson, I've never dealt with any of the other ones, just Tommy. And so I sent him a gun that was a fixed strip gun and said, I want the new gun, which was an adjustable rib gun, to the same look, everything, same POI. I got it back, and it looked like factory settings was 60-40, and it shot 80-20. And I pulled it.
Because he's cutting a different angle in the barrel.
Well, I pulled, no, he just changed some stuff, did different, in the choke and everything. Fixed choke, though. But I pulled it out of the box, and that day I shot 300 targets, 100 singles, 100 handicap, 100 doubles, and I went 99, 99, 99. and it
Then
shot.
you sent it back. You sent it back because you were like, "Hey, man, this thing
said,
don't shoot hundreds."
Where's my 100?
It was interesting that it was balanced close, but I was like, wow. I literally, like, the look was the same, the feel was the same, and moved it. I was like, how did he do that? So there is ways, and it, they do that. That's their deal, not mine. I just shoot the guns.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think you hear a lot about that, but I don't think everybody gets it done, right? And so it's a little bit still of a gray area for some of us. So I've always wondered, you always hear that they're definitely doing some magic in those barrels, but it was always just how are they tuning it? So if you say 80-20 and, for example, Tommy's going to say, okay, if you stack these beads like this, it's going to shoot 80-20 because that's the sight picture that you're going to have, right? Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And he would do it with the ammo included, too, where you would tell him what ammo you're shooting.
Yeah.
And that's, so it does help. I mean, for certain people. So, absolutely.
What I think on that point, what is your opinion on, and I don't want to start any controversy out there, guys, but what's the opinion on forcing comb, polishing, and porting on the barrels? What do you guys think about that? Since we're talking barrels.
I'll just say it's up to the individual.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's preference, right? Like, I've shot some Wilkinson barrels, and I'm like, wow, these really crush a target. But then, I've obviously, seen just factory standard barrels that crush a target. So it doesn't matter in my mind. It's a preference, right? Now, there's some guys that swear by porting, but the ones that I know that do swear by porting, they're like, oh, I port my first shot of doubles, and I don't really port anything else. But like for me, I just hated how messy it was. Like it's always dirty and blowing stuff into my glasses, and Ricky's yelling at me because there's stuff flying out the side of him. I'm shooting, just it's not good. You just keep
He's
clean.
Sideways at us, folks.
Clean, right? So
importing, in my opinion, on some guns, and I had other guns ported, it did help. But it was just, so it's all preference.
What about, and then here's the other question, like how much does it help? Like how much, and is it going to make a difference? I mean, we're getting so minutia, right? I think, this is the stuff that's like one target out of 1,000. And I know the game is a very tight game, but like this is not stuff that's going to get you a couple targets 100. This is stuff that's going to get you maybe a little bit of a better break or maybe a target over a long period of time, if at all.
Yeah. Well, you're right. The game does come down to very small margins, for the high-level competitors like you guys. And so I think some of us just on the fringe who are just curious about these things, for example, porting and barrel tuning and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Well, hey, Kurt from Casa Grande, Arizona, thank you for the question. Guys, thank you for the answer. All right, we're moving on. This is an extravaganza. We've got lots of questions to get through here. All right, next question coming in. Another long one, which I appreciate everyone with the long questions, no punctuation. I really appreciate you testing my reading out loud skills.
Keeps them honest.
Here we go. We'll test it again here from Chet from Prescott, Arizona. A lot of fans in Arizona. First off, I want to say thank you for the great videos and podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you, Chet, for listening.
For listening. Tell your friends.
The first registered targets I ever shot were in 1971 of October. The last registered targets that I shot were in 1991. After watching your great videos, you inspired me to start shooting again this year. I am really struggling, but I hope to keep improving. Chet is getting back in the game. Awesome, Chet. That's really cool.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah. Zach mentions driving to the target, so I would like to get some clarification on that term. When driving to the target, does that involve the entire body? I move my gun to the target based on my video my wife has taken, but hoping to get some specifics on what that means and maybe something I should be working on. So again, Chet, thank you. Zach, you mentioned driving to the target. I think we hear that a lot on the Trap Talk podcast. And Chet is wondering if he can get a little bit more info. And then I've got a part 2 here for Ricky.
Okay. Go ahead, Zachary.
Well, driving to the target. All I mean when I say driving to the target is I'm going with everything I have to that direction, and I'm maintaining movement as I'm pulling the trigger. So, pushing through it, if you will. But, for me, I'm not getting to a target and then finishing with my hands or kicking my knee in or anything like that. Like it's a constant forward press. So if I'm going up to a target and I'm using my knees, my hips, my shoulders at 10% or whatever, I'm pushing all of that motion through the bird and looking at the target the whole time. Ideally, you don't want the gun to stop once you get it to the target. You want to get to that front edge or wherever you want it to be, whatever you need to see. And then as you're shooting, it's just continue that motion all the way through the break. So that's what I mean by that. And I see a lot of people stopping the gun. So like most common thing that I see in a lot of lessons at the gun club is people get right to the spot they want to get to, and then they lock their hands up and they stop. And that's going to cause bad problems in the long run.
All right. I love it. Okay. Chet, that is driving to the target from Zach.
All right, folks, we got to take a quick second and give a huge shout out to our title sponsor, Krieghoff. Me and Ricky both shoot him. We both love him.
Yeah, best gun in the industry. I shoot them. I sell them. Nothing better, folks. Get yourself a Krieghoff. Your scores will increase.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds with his. I mean, I've got a few hundreds, but I'm always working to get a little bit better, and they definitely help me, that's for sure. So on top of that, we also got to thank Wenig. I'm wearing the shirt today. Love this shirt. If you're down at the Grand, pick one up.
Yeah, Wenig, like I said, Zach, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds with my Wenig stock. Get a hold of Bobby, Luke, Bill, get an appointment set up. They will make you a better shooter with that Wenig stock.
Of course, yeah. The Grand's the great place to do it. Give them a call. Get on their book. It's worth your time.
Just remember, winners shoot Wenigs.
With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
All right, Ricky, this is the part 2. Also, Ricky mentioned in the show with Charlie Long that raising your eyes trying to peek at a target can have the same result as lifting your head off the stock. I believe most of my troubles are eye-related, so I would like to understand this better. It seems that your eyes go to the target and then the gun will follow. So wouldn't lifting your eyes work the same? Lift the eyes and the gun follows? Thank you all for being great advocates of trap shooting. Regards, Chet Som from Prescott, Arizona. So, Ricky, lifting the eyes versus, I think, taking your eyes to the target, right? I think that's what you were probably talking about.
Yeah. So Chet's actually a student of mine that I did lessons with.
There you go.
Son, he drove his motorhome down, camped next to me and stuff, and great guy. Shot pretty well at the Spring Grand, came down and shot the little shoot. Couldn't stay on the grounds. He had to stay at the casino. So, so what I'm talking about is if you're lifting your eyes, that's fine by just lifting your eyes up. But when you lift your eyes, most people lift their eyes, which involves lifting your head, which my head's still attached here, but it's not locked in here. So when you lift up like this much, we're talking you're going to see about this much over the beads, and then guess what happens? At the target, your feet.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm meaning is stay locked in. When the eyes move, the gun will follow. Anytime I'm looking somewhere, my hands are going to follow if I'm attached.
Yeah, and Ricky's taught me this in the past too. It involves looking too far ahead and over the gun before you call pull. So even if my head's mashed down in this position, but I look way, way, way up and I've got 6 inches between the end of the gun and the tip, that could be the same thing. So it doesn't even have to involve your head. It could just be starting your eyes too far above the gun. Now for me, I start above the gun. Ricky's looking through the gun. But my above the gun is never more than a quarter, like the distance of a quarter or even a half a quarter. It's not very much, and if you get too much separation, that's going to cause some problems.
So, number one, keep your head down at all times, see the target, and drive through the target. That's what I've always said.
Be the target.
Zach always said, like Zach said, when you're driving through, you got to keep the gun moving. You can't, you're not pushing with one hand or the other. It's a continuous motion through the target.
So Ricky, if we were recording you shooting in slow motion from the front, which is hard to do, but if we were doing that, would we?
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, maybe we'll mount something on there. But would we see in this kind of setup? Would we see kind of like you're calling for pull, the target comes out, your eyes move, and then the gun moves? Would we see that? Is that really the 1-2? Okay, all right.
Quick deal. I was doing a class years ago in Indiana at Glen Park, Isaac Walton. And I had a gentleman that when I was teaching doubles, you see the first target, okay, you move, and then when you go to see the second one, you shoot the first one, bang, your eyes switch, and then go. And he said, nah, you can't do that. And I said, no, that's what it is. Well, it was an 8mm camera.
Oh, okay.
8mm, you can slow down.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I want to video you. And I'm like, well,
Go ahead.
I don't think that's such a good idea. But he goes, well, how about, can I get down like below where you're shooting? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So is what I would do.
I would have loved to have seen this.
But I actually put the shells in, held them, and then closed it with the gun and upward.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then, but he was right here. There was no way to, and he had the camera up. So literally, I'm not kidding you. When I shot, the camera was like right here. So boom, and as I was moving over, we did like 3 pairs, and he's looking at it through the deal, and all I can remember him is going,
yeah.
you do that, and I'm like,
you proved him. Yeah, you proved it right.
Yeah. TV blew it up. And he goes, and you could just see in slow mo, bang, and then the gun, and he was like, well, I don't do that. And I said,
that's pretty cool.
You do this. You go bang, and then the gun would come off. And I said,
yeah, that's
more people go bang and they stay with the gun and they hunt on the way over with the gun. They're looking at the end and they're hunting. And I think that's more common. Instead of bang and lift, it's bang, I'm looking forward, and it's over there. Let's move the gun and move the eyes together. And I feel like you're looking through a tube when you do that. You're looking through that little area, and it's like, oh, what's going on? Versus, I see it, I need to make a move over there.
Yep.
Yeah. That is, I think probably you're right, Zach. I think that's probably the most common thing. I've been even trying to just say to myself as that pre-shot, kind of blocking phrase, like eyes first, like just trying to remind myself, don't move, just let the eyes go. Yeah.
The other thing too, though, is and I've watched Ricky shoot so much, and he's so good at it, but like it's not like he's looking at the target forever and then the gun's going. Like it's almost instantaneous. It's his eyes go and the gun starts to go. It's never like, oh, I'm gonna look at it with my eyes until it gets to apex and then boom, I'm gonna throw the gun.
You see the flash, and that's what I try to tell people is you don't want to move on the flash, meaning you're not you see the flash, and then you go. And then as soon as I honestly, I move the gun maybe an inch or 2, that target is crystal clear.
Yeah.
And then boom, then I drive through it and shoot. Follow through. Keep your head down.
Yeah. So, but even that millisecond of eyes first keeps you from, because we all know, if you move the gun on the call,
it can be painful. I mean, there are a few guys that can do it, but they're doing it purposefully. Right? It's a little different.
That's different. Right? Yeah, that's different for sure. Well, hey, Chet, thank you for the great question. Thanks for coming out to Tucson and working with Ricky.
All right, folks, we got to take another quick break and thank some more sponsors. We've got Game Masters. Ricky, you're our guy over there, right?
Yep. I sell every gun you can imagine. We've got a ton of Krieghoffs, every other brand available. So if you guys need something, let us know. We can hook you up with the shoots. We got vendor buildings in Arizona, Ohio, and then Sparta at the Grand American.
Yeah, I do like sucking up that free AC in Sparta, that's for sure. I mean, it's a good time. Come by and say hi to us.
That's right.
Also, Shot Tracker. I mean, we've had great success with them. Ricky, you've been involved since day one. So
it's like having a coacher on the end of your barrel. It's a great tool, especially for doubles. That's what I really like it for. You can see the transition moving from the first target to the second target. That's where a lot of people get lost in no man's land, losing that target.
I love that, and I also love the new software update, the stuff that's coming down the pipe. Those guys are constantly innovating. So with that being said,
let's get back to the show.
Okay, guys, moving on here. The extravaganza continues. All right, this question is coming in from Ralph P. Ralph says, hello, guys. I am a new shooter who just joined the ATA. Ralph, welcome to the ATA.
Welcome.
Welcome. I'm seeing shoots pop up locally that we can register targets or not register. Is there any benefit to not registering or reason specifically to register them? So I think he's seeing maybe some non-registered league shoots or something like that maybe around. So Ralph's first part of his question is any benefit to registered versus non-registered?
I don't. The only non-registered stuff I shoot is practice if I do, and if we're to shoot and they throw like 50 birders or something that are non-registered, which I'd rather be registered, but it's okay.
It could affect your All-American points, though, Rick. It could.
I think
you only get 1,300 targets.
Oh, that's right. We got to worry about the points. I'm worried about the quiche.
I know.
So
You
I
get the
think
same money if it's registered or not, though.
when I started shooting, I didn't even know what the ATA was. I shot leagues and unregistered shoots, and so it's kind of like minor league, major league in my mind, where a lot of these little unregistered shoots are just, they're newer shooters. You don't have, all Americans showing up to them generally, and you kind of get your feet wet, and I don't see any issue with that at all. Usually they're 50 bird, kind of 50-50-50 deal. But I mean, if you want to go and you want to shoot where everybody's at and you want to compete at the highest level, well, then you're going to have to go to big state shoots, satellite grands, and the grand, and that's all I really have to say about it. I don't think there's disadvantages or advantages. As long as you're not doing it from a bad position. I mean, where you're saying, well, I'm going to go learn how to shoot non-registered shoots and then come in and clean out some ATA shoots, no Kentucky shooters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shots fired, Kentucky.
Shots fired to Kentucky. The Keith Ditto end. I mean, he's been out there just working.
Well, here's the thing. The ATA offers big 50s, right? 50 singles, 50 handicap, 25 pair of doubles. You can shoot these as non-registered if you want, and the ATA is doing that to get you involved into shooting, right? So there's no problem there. But let's check out the second part of Ralph's question here, because I think it adds a little bit of light to
You're
why
holding
he's
part
asking.
two out on us early. I figured we'd get the whole thing.
Listen, we're changing it up a little. We got to break it up a little bit. It's just so I don't have to read out loud so much. These are long questions, guys. Okay.
You know what? You hold out, I do this.
Hey, put that pen down. All right. Okay. It says, I'm doing everything in my power to get better. I'm practicing. I'm reading articles. I'm listening to the podcast. Obviously, very important to be a AAA shooter.
Step one podcast.
Yeah, step one podcast. I'm nervous, and I know the only way to learn to work through that is to experience these events. Very true. The more you go to these events, right, guys? I mean, the less nervous you'll be.
I mean, everyone gets nervous.
It's very normal. Yeah. Here's the part. I don't want to get discouraged by having a terrible performance, but from what I've learned from the podcast and reading articles, I don't foresee that as being a big issue. So what I would say to Ralph, guys, is don't be scared about putting up a bad score at a big event. Don't worry about you need to shoot, because
there's always another post, there's another round, there's another event, there's another day, and there's another shoot. Listen, we all went through it. I've had bad days. I've had bad shoots. Chalk it up to, you know what? Maybe I need to do something a little different. Analyze your performance. But listen, go and have fun. Okay?
Yeah.
Shoot, practice, enjoy it,
Yeah.
Don't worry about it if you have a bad score. Don't embarrass yourself. It's not about that. It's about experiencing it. And unfortunately, I love that you're listening to the podcast, but the best way to experience it is by going and shooting and getting out there and doing it. So, listen to the podcast, read books and all that stuff, but you're going to get nervous, and you can only get nervous when you're actually in an event. And that means you're excited, right? So that's a good thing. Like, that feeling is a good feeling. It shouldn't be something that you try to, forget. So,
Well, and the other thing is, just real quick, I was told this a long time ago. You haven't shot your lowest score yet.
Yes.
So I gotta get this basset hound out of here.
What are you doing, dog?
Why? Your dog's okay.
Leave him.
The dog.
Which
the
one
dog
is it?
came- The dog, huh? Oh,
Which
this
dog?
one's Andy.
Oh,
What's up, Andy?
Andy's in
Who's
the
the
house.
other one?
Oh, he's down taking a shit and outside. I don't know.
Well, hey, Ralph, we appreciate the question. I will echo what these guys are saying. Even when you're not winning the competition, you're learning a lot, and the more targets that you shoot at, the more comfortable you will become. Get out there, shoot as many events as you possibly can, and that's how you're going to improve. So
come say hello to us at one of the shoots.
Yeah,
Please
come up
do.
and say hi for sure. Yeah. So, Ralph, again, thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for the great question.
All right, guys, we got to take another quick break and thank some more sponsors. We got to say big thank you to White Flyer, America's best targets. You make them, we break them, right, Rick?
That's right. We got the new Eco flyer that we helped design, myself and Sean Hawley. That's out now, available out of the Georgia factory. That's an awesome target. Look for that. Going to be available hopefully everywhere by 2025. But yeah, they are best target in the industry.
I'm looking forward to the Blue-Gray Shootout this year at the Grand, too. That's going to be a fun event.
Yeah, you're in that too this year, aren't you, Zach?
We both are, aren't we?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm in it. I didn't know if you made it or not.
See, yeah, that's okay. I skated right in there. Don't you worry. But, we got another sponsor we got to thank.
Yep.
Shotguns West, the Pillas, baby. Check out these wings. Ricky don't got these. He ain't that stylish.
Oh, folks, listen. Zach tries to wear these driving down the road, doing podcasts. It's okay. We still love it.
When you look good, you don't have to apologize. Remember that. Not only can you hit more targets, but you can look good doing it. Give Ryan a call.
That's right.
With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
Here we go. Question coming in from Joe Camacho. I don't know if that's a real name, but we're going to go with it. All right, Joe Camacho. First off, absolutely love the work you are doing. Keep it up. Thank you, Joe. Secondly, I noticed when I go to other locations with a new trap house, and trap things are very understandably different, and my score goes down a few targets per round. I understand the reason behind that, but the question is, what do you do when you show up at a new location and you haven't shot at it before or for a long time? What things are you looking at to adjust, or what's your approach? Thanks for the help, Joe Camacho. So Joe's traveling outside his local club. He's going to other places to shoot. He's traveling around. That's awesome. That's a lot of fun. And he's wondering, what are you guys doing? Maybe if you hit a location you haven't been to, or what are you looking for in the trap?
Honestly, if I go to a new location, I just kind of watch what the targets look like. As far as the traps, my gun sits on the house no matter what the trap house looks like. The only
it's hard for Ricky to get to new locations because he's been everywhere there is to shoot in the country. So,
yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's a hard question. You might be able to ask me that question, but Ricky, I mean, he's shot them all. So you can't.
I would say there's only one location, we've talked about this before, that I've changed and had to change, and that was the old Spokane Gun Club, because their trap houses were an extra 6 feet wider, and because of storage reasons. But honestly, just do what you do. Go shoot a practice. That would be my recommendation, to kind of see how the targets are going and stuff. I go and sit and watch targets. Even I could be standing there talking to someone and not take away the conversation with the person, but I could be seeing what targets are doing and watching how they're breaking. I'm like, okay, I don't know how to say, I don't get wrapped up in like, oh my God,
over analytical,
mile per hour faster, move your gun a little quicker type of deal.
Yeah.
But, you got to see the target, but you want to go and literally pay attention and do some target watching.
Yeah, I agree. Rick's right on the money with this. I think the only thing I would add to it is I do look for similarities. So there are some similarities from one gun club to the next gun club. So like backgrounds, like the difference between shooting on corn or shooting on grass or shooting on blue sky, right? So I know how blue sky is going to react, blue sky to blue sky. So if I've shot blue sky and I go back over here, are they blue sky? Okay, I kind of know what's going on there. I'm shooting over corn, distance. And one thing that kind of messes with me a little bit is there's distance of corn. So like, is the corn right up on the trap house, or is it pushed out far away? That makes a difference on how that target looks. I think background is everything, and going from place to place, just kind of saying, oh yeah, this background reminds me of XYZ. What did I do there, and what happened there? I'm like Ricky. I'm not changing my hold points a lot. Very rarely am I going, up above the house. I mean, I will sometimes if I have to for whatever reasons, but I'm not changing a lot there. And I think you just have to adapt to the target in the air based on what's going on. I mean, some traps throw a little bit of more of an angle. Some traps don't.
You could answer this for Joe, because Joe is from Northern California. It's he's the coach where I did the clinic at up there in Palm Mesa.
Ricky knows everybody.
Well,
when you're traveling with Ricky, you can just meet people. He's loved. You can't help it.
Yeah.
oh, we have fun. But yeah, no, and so different. And Zach, you could relate more to that for like the California area. But most clubs I've been out there, all the traps been different. The only different facility I was ever at out there was a Tascadero. Did you ever shoot a Tascadero, Zach?
Yeah, you're shooting right against that brim, and it's so California is crazy, and I got to give a shout out to my California trap shooters, because literally you're going to go to 3 different clubs within an hour from each other, and you're going to see 3 different backgrounds that are like wildly different than anywhere you've ever shot. You go to Iowa or you go to Kansas, and it's like, okay, we're shooting in Kansas. It's all the same. But I mean, you go to California. Kingsburg is one way, Sunnyvale is another way, Livermore's a complete another way, Martinez is a death trap, and then you go to all these places and you're like, holy crap! Like, and it teaches you to learn to adapt. And the one thing that I kept hearing from the really good shooters that I aspired to be when I was coming up was, well, if you could shoot here, you could shoot anywhere, and that was the thing that kept me hungry at those clubs when it was moving around, because and I think so many people nowadays, I'm looking on Facebook and I'm seeing comments of, well, the targets aren't great here and the targets aren't great there and this, that, and the other thing. I don't care what they're doing. There's a winner that day and there's a loser that day, and if it takes a 92 at Martinez to win and you shot a 92, then congratulations, right? I mean, it's still winning, it's still making money on that event, and that is what I think the sport needs to get back to, because I think so many people are in the mindset that we have to have this perfect target, perfect angle, perfect everything, and they want these mega scores. And nothing wrong with going to Sparta and shooting mega scores, or going to Iowa and shooting mega scores, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but I think there's still a really good place for winning a handicap with an 88 and making $4,000 in Nevada, right? Like that's
nothing
awesome.
Wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, right? Winning's
nothing
winning.
Wrong with that. Yeah, for sure. And you're right about California. I mean, coming up in California, different ATA shoot every weekend at a different club. LA Clays, Oak Tree,
Tascadero, Santa Maria.
Yeah. I mean, just
Triple B.
A lot of options there. You definitely had a good amount of options there. I think one of the things that some of the newer shooters focus on is they focus on too many of the finer details too much. And I think as you guys have talked to, obviously you guys being great shooters, and then you talk to, Pat Lamont and Keith Ditto and Voigtman and all these guys, and you hear a lot of, I just look at the target and shoot the target, and they're just focusing on what's important, the target.
Yeah.
Just get onto the target. So,
and I think that's very important everywhere you go. You know?
It really is. Yeah,
but
all that other stuff fade into the background.
If the light is bad or the background is hard, then you're not going to see the target as well right off the bat. So you have to just kind of adjust to that.
Adjust everything.
I agree.
True.
Well, hey, Joe Camacho from Northern Cal, thank you for the question. We appreciate it.
All right, Trap Talk listeners, let's take a couple seconds and thank a couple more sponsors. First of all, Remington's been with us since day one. I've been shooting these shells since 2007. I shoot the Nitro 27 from the 27-yard line, ounce and eighth, 7.5, and STS ounce and eighth, eighths for singles and doubles. They've worked great for me, as they do a lot of top shooters all around the country. Give them a try. Don't forget the gun club line when you're practicing and you're wanting to save a little bit of money.
We'd also like to thank another sponsor, Outlaw Engineering. Randy Freston, R2. I've known Randy since 1988. They do engineering, surveying, drafting, GIS, civil, structural, land development, wetland permitting. They do it all.
And they're friends of trap shooters. I mean, they're a trap shooting family. They've been in the ATA forever. His dad's been involved. They're involved. They're a beautiful family. They're great people. And we just love that they listen to
Yep.
the show, and we love that they support Trap Talk.
Yeah, his dad was past president in 1989. So I really want to thank those guys for the support. I really appreciate it here at Trap
With
Talk.
that being said,
Let's get back to the show.
Here we go. Oliver J. Patton writes in and says, a lot of the shooters like me are parents. They work full time and simply can't afford to travel and shoot several thousand rounds a year. Does the casual club shooter have any place in an ATA shoot? Or unless you can put up a high score or a high target count, is this kind of a waste? Sorry for the long message. I love this sport, and I'd love to hear more and talk from the perspective of the casual weekly club shoots. Oliver J. Patton.
Go shoot every shoot you possibly can. Don't just stick around and shoot club shoots. I mean, yes, it all starts at the small clubs, and I think we've lost a little sight on that. But I mean, when I was growing up, I wanted to go shoot everywhere. Small shoots, big shoots, wherever I could go and see different places. And, I was fortunate to do that. And that's why Zach talks about, I know a lot of people. I've traveled a lot and to a lot of different clubs and enjoyed it, not only to shoot, but to teach. So I always enjoy it. And that's why I always say, I can say I've shot targets in different places, not registered, but in a clinic, I'll take someone's gun and be like, oh, let me shoot a couple targets.
Right.
yeah, I mean, he mentioned income, and, taking this from a financial standpoint and looking at it, we all have limits. Everyone has a different limit to what they can do and what they can't do.
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, if you're in a position where all you can do is league shoots and close shoots and stuff like that, then that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I think if you can go to an ATA shoot, maybe your kid's shooting a shoot and you want to shoot an event, I would say pick an event that you feel confident in. So if you think, okay, I feel like I have the best chance in singles or the best chance in handicap or the best chance in doubles, maybe just pick one event. You don't have to shoot all three events. And then I would pick where you have the most fun. So maybe, hey, we go to our state shoot every year and that's our splurge and I get to see all my people. Or I go to the Grand every year and that's my splurge and I get to see all these people. Well, then pick it based on that, because everyone wants to shoot all the shoots and have an endless supply of money. But I mean, right now with inflation and with things going on, it's okay that you can't afford to go to every single shoot. I mean, we understand that. It's a matter of having fun and don't feel bad just because you go out and you shoot and you don't win every time you shoot an ATA event. I mean, there's very few people that actually can do that, by the way. Like the majority of people are just shooting the game because they love it. They're not shooting it to win every single time. I mean, we all can't be like Ricky Marshalls and Joe Charnagos and, the killers of the world, right? I mean, just enjoy the sport.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Have fun. Shoot what you can. It obviously there's a rare smaller group of people that get to travel around and kind of do all the big shoots and but hey, if you've got a local shoot and you're having fun out there, I say, Oliver, get out there,
get out there, bang something. Don't be afraid to register some targets. Just go do it.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Oliver, thank you for the question. Thank you for listening.
Hey, Trop Talk listeners, let's take a quick second to thank a couple more amazing sponsors. SOS Clays Shoot Management. They're doing a fantastic job. I love the app. I love being able to see everything on my phone instantaneously. It's freaking awesome. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, Greg Pink and his group over there. I mean, they've got majority of the satellite grands, majority of the state shoots. I think it's 40 plus state shoots they're doing. But the app, honestly, we were doing a little beta testing with that at the Spring Grand. It's awesome. You can see your squad if they paid. You can see your options, your payouts. The whole works at your fingertips. Great deal. They're just
Ricky knew how much money he made before he even got off the line. He was like, hey, I'm buying lunch. I'm like, yeah, good job. We're good to go.
That's
we
right.
also got gun and trophy insurance. I mean, they're the best in the business. I know they're great price. Ricky, you're familiar with them, right?
Yeah, Cole and Larry Cushman been long-time supporters of myself, and I've been a supporter of them, and, especially with my college team. We require insurance. It's so fast and easy to sign up and get your insurance in literally 10 minutes. You can have your guns insured, and they're just great. They're great to deal with. Like I said, you can do your trophies also, your wildlife animals and that such. and your guns. It's just a great.
It's always good when you're
Great
traveling
club.
around to have that peace of mind and know that you don't have to worry about losing your stuff forever. And these are expensive things, especially when you got those Krieghoffs. You got to keep them insured. So,
Oh, exactly.
with that being said,
let's get back to the show.
All right, we're moving on, guys. Jesse Adkins writes in from Denver, former student of Ricky Marshall, says,
Yep.
during one of our previous Q&A sessions, the pre-shot routine was discussed by ZNR. That's you guys. You're ZNR. Ricky mentioned his trigger control as being one of his strengths. My question is, what practice routine would you guys recommend to develop stronger trigger control?
Honestly,
Don't pull the trigger until it's time.
God, you took my line.
Sorry.
Honestly, trigger control is within yourself. Not everybody can do it. Where it comes, honestly, your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Seeing that target, oh, there it is, and being aware of your gun, everything, and oh, I'm not on it. Now I'm on it. Go. And all that information goes, shoot. I mean, it's faster than the speed of light. Mm-hmm. So, to be honest, there's no one taught me trigger control. It was just where I developed it was and singles and doubles, singles and handicap. I'm kind of, I'm good. Sometimes I'm not, but doubles is where it really is, especially on that second shot.
it's everything. And I could say I've watched most of the great shooters in the country shoot. Ricky's probably got the most phenomenal trigger control I've ever seen because he can take a target, break it, and then that other target's going down in the dirt, and he'll go hunting out. The only other person that I've seen that had trigger control that really impressed me like at that level was Leo, and Leo could break the first target, and that second target could bounce. He could flinch on it. He could make a move, go down, and like literally hit targets 2 or 3 feet off the dirt. And I'm like, man, that guy, there's just something there. And honestly, I don't think you can train that. You either have that or you don't have that. But for me, I was someone that worked on building trigger control because I found it very important in the game. So one of the drills I did early on was I just go in my garage and I'd take like duct tape or something like that, and I'd go to the back wall and I just put dots like on the wall, like one on the left, one on the right, one in the middle, kind of like a poor Italian what's that chart they
wall
do?
chart, the Jordan wall chart.
Terry Jordan wall chart, right?
Yeah.
Like I never could afford one of those, so I just did the duct tape Zaccanini version. And I would mount the gun, and then I'd have my dad come out, and I'd say, hey, tell me if it's left, tell me if it's right, tell me if it's straight, whatever. And I'd just go and, okay, that one. And then when I'd go to the range, I would intentionally set really, 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 really high targets or set a target on wobble so that, if I'm on the house and they're higher than humanly imaginable that you would ever shoot in a tournament, well, what do you got to do? You got to go all the way up to shoot it, right? So I think if you're shooting, a 9-foot target and you go pull, bang, pull, bang, pull, bang, you're teaching your body to go, on a time. Where if you are on the house and I set a 50-foot target, well, I call pull, I'm not going to break it until it's up there. So I've got to hold that off. And the more you can train that, and I mean, I've seen Ricky do it in Kansas where targets are in the moon. They're coming back at you, and he'll be on the house, like never change a damn thing, and call pull and just go whoop all the way up, bang, broke the damn thing. And I'm like, how do you do that unless you've shot that? And I think most people they're just going to let off real early, and that's a problem.
Would you guys say that just obviously the awareness of trigger control, that's step one, to know that you need to have it. And Ricky, what you're saying about the eyes is until your eyes see that sight picture, that trigger's not getting pulled. So you're really relying on that. And I think you've just done it so much it becomes subconscious, at this point.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, folks, let's take a quick second and thank some brand new incoming sponsors of the show. These are personal friends of mine, fellow clay shooters, and lovers of the outdoors, Rick and Carla Burke at 73 Pointers Ranch. Rick, tell them what we're doing.
Well, we're doing a giveaway at the Grand American. So they've graciously donated a one-person hunt for, I think it's, 18 quail or 12 chukar or 8 pheasants. Your choice, guide and dog. We've got dinner, overnight, lodging, breakfast. So Yeah, I think it's going to be a great giveaway.
It's a great thing. It's valued at like $1,500. You can obviously bring a guest if you'd like, but it's about an hour out of St. Louis Airport. And if you're lucky, maybe me and Rick will go out there with you and do some bird hunting, because this is an awesome place. It's a great time. And if you're local to this area, it's not that far out of the city. So you can be in the office and then be hunting in the afternoon. So they're great, great people, and they love this show. So we really, really appreciate the love and support.
Yeah, we'd like to thank Rick and Carla. We really appreciate that.
Also, we've got Mid-State Precious Metals, Ron Prescott. He's a great guy for all your gold and silver needs. Ricky, tell him about our friend.
Yeah, Ron, he graciously donated a 10-ounce silver bar to our live in-person podcast in Tucson. And, he has everything. I bought a bunch of silver from him. We got our silver and gold for the fun day at the Nevada State Shoot on Monday this year. John got all the silver and gold for the Nevada State Shoot. So look him up for your silver and gold needs. He'll give you the best price out there.
He really is, and he's a friend of the Trap Shooters. I mean, he's looking to get gold and silver to these gun clubs for their shoots at the lowest price across the country. He's doing them a service and helping grow the sport. So, thank you so much for that, Ron.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. We appreciate it.
With that being said,
let's get to the show.
All right. Hey, moving on, guys. Let's keep it going. Next question is coming in from Charlie Lehman of New Jersey. And Charlie writes, hey, guys, today I was at the Silver Dollar White Flyer shoot, and a squad mate chipped a target, which the puller called lost. FYI, the puller was an adult senior. Myself and two other squad mates told the puller it was a dead bird. The puller yelled out he didn't see it, and it was a lost target, and then told the squad mate to read the rule book, and he was the official. Okay. How do you think we should have handled it at the time? We did take it up with management in the clubhouse later. Thank you for your time, Charlie Lehman, New Jersey. Guys, this comes up. This happens.
The rule book states exactly what the polar scorer said.
They are the final word.
Yep. Usually, we take targets away from ourselves more than we call targets, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's for sure.
I have run into it before where I've taken a target away and they've said, no, market lost. But I have run into this situation where we've had the whole squad. No, that target was dead. I didn't see it. And normally, every once in a while, and at this instant, I saw the target, and I turned around and looked, and they were looking down, and they looked up, lost. And then I was like, well, you weren't even looking. Oh, but no matter if they're a senior or not, it's just
I think number one, be respectful, right? Don't cause a scene. Don't cuss. Don't throw a big thing. I think if you've got multiple people on the squad, they're going to back that you hit the target, and everybody's saying that, I would stop right there respectfully, and I would call a bank boss. I would say, hey, could you call a bank boss? Could you call a gun club manager? Could you call someone? I wouldn't handle it in the clubhouse later. I would say, hey, can you get someone over here? I really appreciate what you're doing. I would thank the scorekeeper and say, hey, I really appreciate you, the integrity and not letting people cheat, because I've seen more scorekeepers that are on the other side of it where they're like, well, I don't know if he hit it or not, but I gave it to him, right? So there's so many scorekeepers that I see that are just like, yeah, I just gave him that target. I gave him that target. I gave him that target. And it's usually the wad that they're seeing, and it's not like target chip. Yep. And, so I think, people get abused in that chair so much that guy that old man has probably been through an experience with another squad where someone was cheating or trying to cheat, and it happened, and maybe he said, you know what, I'm going to stand up for myself, and I'm going to say this is it, right?
Yeah. So, he picked your squad and your event to put his foot down.
You got to check your emotions at the door when you're dealing with people, because you don't know where he's at. You don't know what he's been through. You don't know what's going on. And they're not paying him thousands of dollars an hour to do that. So, I would say get with the squad, see if you can handle it in a respectful manner. And at the end of the day, if it costs you a target because it didn't get handled, then it's not the end of the world, right?
Like Zach said originally, you want to just, if you and two others on the squad, whatever it is adamant that target was broke, stop right then and there, because as soon as that post is over,
It's
and the
over.
off shooter shoots the first target on the next post,
Right.
everything that happened prior is in stone. So you can't do nothing about it. So going in and talking to management afterwards, that's just trying to
yeah.
say, hey, this, but
Yeah.
that's what I would recommend. So
Yeah. I had the opposite happen in Tucson. Is just like you were saying, Rick. We said I missed a bird. Clearly, the bird went left. I went right. I know I missed it 100%. The whole squad knew I missed it, and the scorekeeper did not say loss. And we're at the 27. He's standing right behind me. I turn around. I said, "Hey, bud, that was a lost bird." And he goes, "No, it wasn't." And I said, "Trust me, it was a lost bird."
It was awesome.
And he said, these were his words, "I pride myself on seeing birds, and you hit that bird." And he proceeded to get out of the chair in the middle of the round and walk off the field. And would not come back and score it unless I took the bird as a dead bird. And I said, "You can stay over there because I'm not taking it."
taking it, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got all day, buddy. The RV's 20 feet that way. We can stay
You
here
know
all
what?
day. I'm not taking it.
I've seen that type of situation handled, and us Italians, we say we could settle this out of court. Just drill the next one right into the dirt, Call pull, shoot one into the dirt, and, hey, it's fine.
But
Well-
then you're intentionally missing a target.
Right,
You can be
right.
disqualified from the whole event.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
They're not
But,
getting me.
hey,
They're not going to get
we-
me.
We see it on both sides, Charlie.
Yeah.
And like Zach's saying, and I will just tell you from a shoot management side of things, those scorekeepers really do put up with a lot. They are doing their best. Some of them take it a lot more serious than others, and
They
it's almost
do.
like you find the extremes.
But think about this too, people. We're doing this sport because we love it, and there's some people that I know that their career is they're a puller, and they go from shoot to shoot to shoot as pullers, and they do this, and it is their deal, right? And just because it's their deal doesn't mean they're the best at it, right? It just means that's what they're doing, and so I've seen people treat pullers so bad and so disrespectful, and it hurts my heart to think about it, because these people are human beings, and they're trying to do a job, and not everybody is blessed with the same talents and abilities. So,
Yeah.
if you
And-
can,
I try to handle everything on our squad, as Zach knows. I just go back and I'm like, listen, you got this little button, you can off.
Yeah, turn it off. Yep.
There, you're in control.
that's a hard concept to teach.
Yeah, well, listen. They say, you hear this from shooters. Again, just from the shoot management side, you hear it a lot from shooters. At certain shoots, hey, good help is hard to find. Well, yeah, it is hard for us to find pullers sometimes at these larger events, right? It takes a lot of people to run those events, and they are doing their best. But I think what I've seen out of you guys is anytime there's any kind of issue, you guys handle it in a very respectful way. And just like Zach said, these people are humans. They're trying, right? Everybody has their own little personality.
We're not
quirks,
paying them
right?
$100,000 a year to score, right? It's not
exactly.
Not
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Charlie, you did the best you could. I think probably the only critique that we would give you is don't go off the field. There's nothing shoot management's going to do for you. Once that score sheet leaves, it's set in stone. There is
don't
zero
start
you can
the next
change.
vote.
Yeah, don't even start the next post. Don't start the next post. Just wait. Ask them to bring the tournament director over, and you can talk about it with them and find a resolution, staying respectful. But it does happen. I think the good news is it's a minority of the time. If you think about all the times you're out there shooting and it doesn't happen,
Yes.
that's probably the good news of it, right? Most of the time things are running as they should. So, Charlie, keep up the good fight out there in New Jersey, and we really appreciate the question.
All right, Trap Talk listeners, got to take a few more seconds for some shameless plugs. This time, we're plugging Trap Talk. We got the hats on.
right.
Ricky, why are you wearing the same hat as me? It's going all gray. We got hats. We still got some available, right, Rick?
Yeah, we got multiple hats available. We got a big order of hats coming out too. You can get them on the website. John will put the link either up here or down here. Not sure. That's
Somewhere.
up to John. So I gave him both.
Yeah, you never know where he's going to put them. That being said, we love you guys wearing the hats at Trap Shoots. It really shows the support. It shows the love. Take pictures. Tag us on Instagram. Tag us on Facebook. Send us messages of you guys wearing the hats. Wear them proud, and we got a big reveal coming for the Grand. I think you guys are really going to like it. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a place for you to maybe get some merchandise, so more details to come. With that being said,
let's get back to the show.
All right, guys, one more, and we will end this part 4 of the listener extravaganza, and we're going to end it on a very good question here. Yeah. All right, here's one coming in from Brit7044 on YouTube, and Brit says, here's one for the Ask Us Anything category. When the day arrives that you are eligible for the sub-vet category, will you elect to be in it, or will you stay in open? Sub-vet is so competitive, it doesn't seem to be any different than open most of the times. Brit7044 on YouTube asks, all right, guys, when that day comes.
That's for Zach, I guess.
Yeah, that was for Zach. Yeah.
I have a lot of gray hairs, folks, but I'm a far way away from sub-vet. So I think that's a Ricky-directed question.
That may be coming in for you, Rick.
What is sub-vet, 55?
55.
Yeah, 55.
I got 5.5 more years, and honestly, I might try it just to, like, hey, why not? But I like shooting open. I mean, you know, I kind of, I personally think if you're a category shooter, you get twice the shots at winning stuff.
Yep.
But honestly, I might do it. I don't know. You know,
when he gets there. We finally got him stumped on a question. We've done 90 episodes of Trap Talk. We've never stumped him.
Listen, no, you ain't got me stumped. I'm thinking, if there's added money it shoots, a lot of times it doesn't go to category. It goes, so I'd probably just stay in open.
Yeah. Now, sometimes there is added money in the categories for sure. But, Rick, I could see you going over to sub-vet, taking captain, and then the next year going back to open. I could see you just to say you did it. I could see it happening.
That's what Chris Vendel did.
Yeah, just to say, hey, I did it.
Yeah,
I went over there.
You can go back and forth, and I mean, I don't think a guy like Ricky is looking at it and saying, oh, well, I could beat these people over here, I could beat these people over here. I don't think it looks at it that way. I think, if anything, if he does do it, it'll be just to spice it up a little bit because, I mean, heck, he's been open for X amount of years, and, you know, when I was a category shooter, I shot category. When I'm open, I shoot open. And if a category opens up again for me someday, I'll probably go try it and go from there. I don't see any shame.
Sub-vets.
I don't see any shame doing it. It's not. I mean, there's your category is just as prestigious to win that champion, to be a captain in that line. Whether you're a lady, sub-vet, chair, whatever, you're the best in your division. And I think that's something to be really, really proud of. So, you know, I encourage people to shoot their deal if they're able and they're open. Then what's it hurting?
And we encourage people to stay in their category and stay out of open until it's time to come over.
Yeah, Dagan.
Yeah.
Come on, Dagan.
Just run it out, bud.
I've not talked to Dagan, but he's been out practicing a little bit, I heard. Because he shoots up at Omaha. And I did see his dad up there 2 weeks ago. And he goes, I don't know what he's going to do. He said he'll decide when he walks in the door at Missouri State Shoot. So, Zach, you'll know if he's there.
Zach will be the first to know.
Or if he's there to go, boom, on you.
Zach, you know what? We expect breaking news, Zach, from the Missouri State Shoot.
I will have my mic on with the breaking news. And
you know what you do, Zach? Hey, you need to find out when he gets there and go in with him in classification and be like,
we're going to go live. It's going to be a big deal. But
I mean, get in his ear. Get in his ear.
If you're a high-level competitor like that, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, one way or the other, he's going to be able to compete. It's just a matter of kind of where you might finish. And in both of at least for him, I mean, he has an opportunity to be at the top of both of those teams. I mean, so it doesn't. I mean, it's not like he's like, oh, well, I'm going to be a bottom tier open team or a top tier junior. I mean, so there's that to think about. I think the ones that's probably like the hardest is like if you're a junior or a sub-junior or a junior gold and you're a lady one. Like then you got like double category questions, right? Like do you shoot lady? Do you shoot sub-junior? Do you shoot I mean, because I've seen that.
Aya Funkhouse, remember, she made the open team.
Yep.
She was 81 junior.
Yeah, and I think she's made it on the junior team too before though, right?
Yep.
So like she's made, an open team, a junior team. I don't know if she's made a lady team, and that would be by choice. But
the first one to be able to make all the teams.
Yeah.
Hit them all, yeah.
Hey, Britt from YouTube, thank you very much for that question. We will stay tuned. Zach's going to let us know what happens with Dagan at the Missouri State Shoot. We'll see what happens with Rick here in about 5.5 years. So stay tuned.
That's right.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Listen, everyone, thank you so much for sending in the questions. Thank you for supporting Trap Talk. We really appreciate it. If you want to send your question in, ask us at traptalkpodcast.com, and we'll get these two guys to answer them for you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the Trap Talk podcast is brought to you in part by
RM Shooting Clinics. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. If you want to shoot hundreds, give Ricky a call today. Zach Nannini Financial. We believe in putting people first.